Good morning, everyone. Let us now begin the session with a prayer from Stacy.
చిన్మయ రూప చిరంజీవా స్నేహ స్వరూప జగదీశ ജീവ സന്ദായക നമിക്കുന്നു കനിവോടെന്നും അനുഗ്രഹിക്കൂ ചിന്മയ രൂപ ചിരഞ്ജീവാ ആയിരം വസന്തങ്ങൾ പൊഴിഞ്ഞാലും ആയിരം മഴവില്ലു തെളിഞ്ഞാലും ആയിരം വസന്തങ്ങൾ പൊഴിഞ്ഞാലും ആയിരം മഴവില്ലു തെളിഞ്ഞാലും നിതാന്ത സൗന്ദര്യമേ നിന്റെ മുൻപിൽ നിഷ്പ്രഭമല്ലോ ചരാചരങ്ങൾ നിതാന്ത സൗന്ദര്യമേ നിന്റെ മുൻപിൽ നിഷ്പ്രഭമല്ലോ ചരാചരങ്ങൾ ചിന്മയ രൂപ ചിരഞ്ജീവാ.
Thank you. So, welcome back, everyone. We continue with what we had been discussing in the previous class. We were doing the exercises at the end of the core text, that is S Subbulakshmi. So, we continue with that. So, first we have a kind of checking whether we remember what we learned in the core text. So, that is the first topic. Okay. So this lesson is autobiography, a biographic sketch, an essay on music, a review. What is this? What is this lesson? There are 4 options: autobiography, biographic sketch, essay on music, a review. Which is the correct answer? I'm waiting for your response. Exactly, it is a biographic sketch. It is correct. Biographic sketch. Yes, biographic sketch. Yes, that is correct. Autobiography is something somebody writes about oneself, then it is called an autobiography. Autobiography. So this is not that it is written by another author. So, as life story of somebody written by someone else is called a biographic sketch. It is not about the music; it is about the person. So therefore, okay. So there is some problem with the clarity. I will check. So this is about it's okay now. Can you hear now? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So this is not an essay on music. It is about the person. It's also not a review. Which of the two statements is correct? This essay tells us about the greatness of MS and her music. It discusses Carnatic music. Which is correct? A is correct or B is correct? A is correct, because this is not about Carnatic music. It is about the greatness of the greatness of MS and her music. In fact, it is more about the person than the music. He says that the author Malini says that it is not in the person, it is not in the music, but in the person. So it gives more importance to the person MS than her music. Okay, next is the central idea in paragraph 1 is summed up for you. Do the same for the other 3 paragraphs. For paragraph 1 is MS the great singer gave a concert at the UN General Assembly in 1966. First paragraph. Okay. So then we have the 1 2 1. So this is the first paragraph. This is about this is about first paragraph. Okay. Then we have next paragraph about Disa and MS. This paragraph is about Gandhi and MS. How about how MS influenced, how the music of MS influenced. That is okay. Next one.
The problem is that
The
the
problem is
connection
that
is
the
gone.
connection is
Please
gone.
wait.
Please wait.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, come on. Okay, I'll find out.
Okay, now I'm using my phone. Now you will be able to hear better. For the past 1 week, I'm experiencing network problems continuously. So it was a geo connection. It's not working properly for the past 1 week. Maybe you may also have experienced such problems if somebody is using geo network. നിങ്ങളുടെ ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ ജിയോ നെറ്റ്വർക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ഓക്കെ, അതാണ്.
ആദ്യാണ് ഞാൻ ജിയോ മോഡ് ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരുന്നു. അതിപ്പോ കിട്ടണില്ല ശരിക്കും. നെറ്റ് അതിന് കിട്ടണില്ല.
Yes. Okay, that's my problem also. Now I have connected using BSNL. This is from my phone I am doing. Okay, so this is the second paragraph. Randamtha paragraph. This is about Gandhi and his influence on, or rather MS and her influence on Gandhiji. That is this paragraph. Okay, so that is the second paragraph. So the first paragraph is about MS singing at the United Nations. And the second paragraph is about the influence of MS on Gandhiji. And the third paragraph is the last paragraph. The last paragraph is about the importance of MS as a person. So she is not just a musician. There is something in her voice, a kind of purity, a goodness that is making her song very special, very magical. So that is what the chapter discusses in these 3 paragraphs. So these are the themes we find in these 3 paragraphs. Okay. Complete the following. S Subbulakshmi is a great singer. Yes. സജിതയ്ക്ക് ജിയോ ആണോ യൂസ് ചെയ്യണത്? സജിതയ്ക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ടോ? നെറ്റ് കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ടോ? എത്ര നാളായി കിട്ടാണ്ടായിട്ട്? So same problem is there. It's not just in Kerala, it is all over India. So then I had registered a complaint. I shouted at those people. I called the customer care. No use. Nothing is happening. They said they are trying to solve the issue. So till something happens, we'll have to bear with these problems. And since it's an early morning session, I cannot go to college and take the session. So that's why this is coming to you straight from my home. So we have network problems here. At college, we have a good internet connection. But here, no such fortunes. So she is popularly known as, Subbulakshmi is popularly known as, just 2 letters. MS, exactly, Aparna. It is MS. She has given concerts not only in India, but not only set of words you see. A set of words. Not only you see a set of words. But also, exactly. Not only, but also. So she has given concerts not only in India, but also. Yes, but also abroad. Yes. So in 1966, she sang കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് യൂസ് ദി പ്രിപ്പോസിഷൻ അറ്റ്. ഷീ സാങ് അറ്റ്. എവിടെ സാങ് ചെയ്തു? ഷീ സാങ് അറ്റ്. എവിടെയാണ് സിങ് ചെയ്തത്? 1966 MS എവിടെയാണ് പാടിയത്? അപ്പോഴല്ലേ ആളുകളൊക്കെ എഴുന്നേറ്റ് നിന്ന് കൈയടിച്ചതൊക്കെ?
ജനറൽ അസംബ്ലി.
Exactly, yes. General Assembly of the United Nations. United Nations General Assembly. Okay, yes, that's it. General Assembly of the United Nations. And the international unit, the audience at the UN, what happened to them? രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറയാം അതില്. ഒന്ന്, they were spellbound. The international audience at the UN were spellbound. It means they were so much attracted, they were captivated by her music, and they gave her, yes, they gave her a stood up and clapped in ഉള്ള വാക്കെന്താണ്? They gave her a standing ovation. എഴുന്നേറ്റ് നിന്ന് കൈയടിക്കുന്നതിന് പറയുന്ന പേരാണ് a standing ovation. So the international audience at the UN gave her a standing ovation. So that is called a standing ovation. Okay, they arrange the following ideas in sequence as they appear in the lesson. ഏതാണ് ഫസ്റ്റ്? ഇത് ഗാന്ധിജിയെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള പാരഗ്രാഫിൽ നിന്നാണ്. അപ്പോൾ യു ഹാവ് ടു ഓർഡർ ദം ഇൻ പ്രോപ്പർ ഓർഡർ. യു ഹാവ് ടു പുട്ട് ദം ഇൻ പ്രോപ്പർ ഓർഡർ. So the first sentence could be yes, Gandhi was very fond of her singing. B. Gandhi was very fond of her singing. Then second, MS considered her association with Gandhiji a great fulfillment. Then MS made Raghupati, MS sang at the public prayer meetings held by Gandhiji. Then MS made Raghupati Raghav Rajaram the nation's favorite hymn. Gandhiji liked her rendering of Vaishnava Janto, etc. Okay. So from the points given in question number 5, select the main point. So that is from this, which is the main point? Which is the main point in this? ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പോയിന്റ് ഏതാണ് അതിലുള്ളത്? ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട, യെസ്, സി ആണ്. ഗാന്ധിജി ലൈക്ക് സി ആണ്. ബി ഇസ് ബെറ്റർ. സി ഒരു പ്രത്യേക സോങ്ങിനെ കുറിച്ചാണ്. ബി ആവുമ്പോൾ എല്ലാ സോങ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചുമായി. Gandhiji was very fond of her singing. Gandhiji was very fond of her singing. So Gandhiji, fond of എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന്റെ മീനിങ്, fond of, this fond of means to like. Children are fond of chocolates. To like, ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുക. So Gandhi was very fond of her singing എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എല്ലാമായി. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ രഘുപതി രാഘവ് രാജാറാം, വൈഷ്ണവ് ജന്ത, all songs are included in it. പിന്നെയുള്ളതെല്ലാം ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ്, ബട്ട് among the most important. For example, when MS sang Vaishnav Janato, it brought tears to the eyes of everyone. So that much emotional involvement. So when she sings, people start crying. നമ്മൾ പാടിയാലും ആൾക്കാർ കരയും. പക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ പാടുന്നത് കേട്ടിട്ട് സങ്കടം കൊണ്ടാണ്, പാടാൻ അറിയില്ലല്ലോ പാവത്തിനെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ടാണ് ആൾക്കാർ കരയുക. പക്ഷെ MS പാടുമ്പോൾ കരയുന്നത് അങ്ങനെയല്ല, ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ്. It is because of the emotional feeling that she brings into her music that people cry. Okay, that is the next one. Okay. Say true or false. Many people consider the UN concert as the most famous achievement of MS. True or false? True. In the public prayer meetings held by the Mahatma, hymns from all religions were sung. True. Hymns are religious prayer songs. True. Gandhiji particularly liked Vaishnava Janto when MS sang it. True. Gandhi was not fond of Raghupati Raghav Rajaram. E. Last one. False. So last one is false. Okay. What is the meaning of Gandhiji's statement about MS Subbulakshmi's performance as a singer? What did Gandhi say, first of all? ആദ്യമായി ഗാന്ധി എന്ത് പറഞ്ഞു എന്നുള്ള ഓർക്കണം. What did Gandhiji say about MS's performance as a singer? ഗാന്ധിജി എന്താണ് പറഞ്ഞത്? He said that I would like to hear the words of MS reading a hymn rather than somebody else singing it. അപ്പോൾ MS ഒരു പാട്ട് പറയുന്നത് എനിക്ക് മറ്റൊരാൾ അതേ പാട്ട് പാടുന്നതിനേക്കാളും ഇഷ്ടമാണ് എന്നാണ് ഗാന്ധിജി പറഞ്ഞത്. So it is he is not talking of the musical abilities of Subbulakshmi, rather he is emphasizing on the kind of feeling, bhavam, with which she sings. So that is what Gandhiji is emphasizing when he said about MS that I like to hear the words of a hymn spoken by MS rather than sung by somebody else. So that kind of statement means that Gandhi respects MS as a person. He thinks that when she sings the song, she puts her soul into the song. She puts her heart into the song, and that makes the song special. Fill in the blanks. Her daughter Radha dash with her. Her daughter Radha dash with her. What did she do? Her daughter Radha practiced with her. Practiced with her. Then practiced with her. Again there is a dash. Practiced with her for several hours every day. Whenever MS sings, dash listen to her in dash. Who listen? People listen to her in. People listen to her in dash and dash. Wonder. People listen to her in wonder and admiration. Can you write the second line of Raghupati Raghav Rajaram? Raghupati Raghav Rajaraminte second line അറിയുമോ?
Patita Pavana Sitaram.
Exactly, Patita Pavana Sitaram. That is correct. Okay. So can you use some other expression in the place of the words in italics? Yes. The entire audience stood up and clapped. To stand up and clap has a single word. What is that? It's called a standing ovation. Exactly. Yes, Aparna, it is standing ovation. Okay. The next one, this song brought tears to everyone's eyes. So can you change it? So this song, I can say this song made people cry. Okay. This song made the eyes, made people's, can you use something else? Yes, you can. This song made people's eyes moist. Okay, so this song made people cry. This song made people's eyes moist. Okay, that these are two different expressions you can use instead of brought tears to everyone's eyes. Imagine that you are present at one of the prayer meetings of Gandhiji, where MS sang, give an account of your experience, so you can write about your experience. If suppose you get an opportunity to travel back in time and you happen to meet MS. Okay, so that is the next one. Next is sentence linkers. Okay, so linkers are connectors. So they are used within sentences. Within sentences, നമ്മൾ conjunction എന്ന് പറയും. പക്ഷെ വേറെ സെന്റൻസ് തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ മുമ്പ് പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയും സെന്റൻസ് ലിങ്കേഴ്സ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യും. സോ ദേ ഹാവ് two different positions, one in the middle of the sentence and the other at the beginning of the sentence also, to connect with the previous sentences. So they are called linkers. They have many terms. They are called connectors. They are called discourse markers. So many different terms are used for sentence linkers. They are also called sentence markers. These are all different terms for sentence linkers. So linkers can be called connectors, discourse markers, sentence markers, etc. So they have different purposes. The aims of using sentence linkers can be different. To emphasize a point, certain expressions are used. To compare two ideas, to contrast ideas. Then let us see some examples. Here you can see some examples of some sentence markers. So these are the different aims of using connectors. Purpose, uddesham, to contrast with something you have said earlier. When you write a sentence, when you say something, if you begin the sentence like this, then it means you are trying to contrast your idea said in the previous sentence. That is called contrasting. Then we have opinion, talking about your opinion or somebody else's opinion. Then when you talk about examples, you can use some other connectors. When you talk about reference, when you refer to something else, then you use some other connectors. We will see all these connectors. What are those different connectors? So for contrasting, we have such connectors. One example I have written in the chat box, that is on the other hand. The other connectors are however, but, while. So these are some ways in which we can begin the sentences to contrast it with what we have mentioned earlier. As long as, while, if, however, until, but, so that, etc. ഇതിൽ പലതും സെന്റൻസിന്റെ ഇടയിലും യൂസ് ചെയ്യും. അപ്പോൾ അത് കൺജങ്ഷൻസ് ആയി. Inside the sentence, when we use it inside the sentence, I want to go, but I have some work. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ സെന്റൻസിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിലാണ് ബട്ട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നതെങ്കിൽ ആ കണക്ടർ is functioning as, it is still a connector, but it is functioning as a conjunction within that sentence. But when this connector appears at the beginning of the sentence, then it is connecting the idea in the previous sentence or even the previous paragraph to this paragraph. ചിലപ്പോൾ ഒരു പാരഗ്രാഫ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഒരു അടുത്ത പാരഗ്രാഫ് ബട്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് തുടങ്ങിയാൽ അതിന് മുമ്പ് പറഞ്ഞ പാരഗ്രാഫിന് മുഴുവൻ കോൺട്രാസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, അതിന് വിരുദ്ധമായിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ് പറയാൻ പോകുന്നത് എന്ന് ഒരു സൂചന നമുക്ക് കിട്ടും. So that is the effect of using sentence markers. The benefit of using sentence markers or discourse markers or linkers, they are these connectors, all four are the same. The benefit of using them is that we are able to make our paragraph or essay very readable. വെറുതെ കുറെ ആശയങ്ങൾ കൂട്ടിക്കെട്ടിയതുപോലെയല്ല. There is a proper organization. It helps us to organize our ideas. So that is organization how to organize your ideas is very important. So that is helped by using proper connectors. So that is the benefit of using systems. So these are some examples of using connectors for contrasting. Okay, contrasting nulla connectors on. Then we have some connectors which talk about condition. If you will come across such connectors in newspapers also, as long as condition, as long as you study well, it doesn't matter whether you watch movies. If you study well, you will pass the examination. Conditional. So as long as, such as, if, because, until, so that, these are all conditional connectors, or rather connectors which indicate condition. It can talk about the same sentence. It can in the same sentence you can see these conditions being exhibited, or you can refer to a previous sentence. You can talk about a previous sentence and begin with the connector of condition. Then we have purpose. Purpose means aim. What is the aim of doing something? So that is indicated by such connectors as in order to, so that the collector has closed down the district in order to contain the disease. So that the disease does not spread, the collector has done such measures. So that is, so when you end a paragraph with this sentence, it means that the purpose of this paragraph, the whole sentence, whole actions done in these sentences in the previous paragraph, that is explained by this one sentence. So that the disease is not spread, the collector has taken these measures. So these are connectors of purpose. Many other examples are also there, in order to, such as, since, because, until, as, so, that, etc. These connectors, as I mentioned earlier, they can also become in between the sentence. For example, since can come in between the sentence, because can come in between the sentence. Then they function as conjunctions. Same connectors, they function as conjunctions which join the parts of a sentences together. That is the function of a conjunction. A conjunction is a part of speech which joins the different parts of a sentence together. That is a conjunction. So all conjunctions are connectors, but all connectors need not be conjunctions. All conjunctions are definitely connectors because they connect the different parts of the sentence. Okay, then we have some connectors which indicate a reason, because, as, since, as I see it, such as, since, because, until, personally, etc., which indicate reason. Because the shop was closed, I could not get the paper. So indicating reason. So many examples are given there, as I see it, such as, since, as, personally, etc. Some connectors have examples. For example, when I say this, that is one common connector that we use everywhere. For example, is usually indicated by very shortly by using E dot G dot. It is actually a Latin phrase. Anybody knows the full form of this? For example, the short form is E dot G dot. And the full form ariyo. Full form is EG and full form is exempli, rather spelling exempli EXEM PAGRATIA. This is a Latin phrase which means for example. EG. So that is also a connector which connects to the idea. Noun is the name of a person, place, and thing. EG, it is actually connecting when you give the examples, it is actually connecting to the previous definition that you talked about the noun. So these examples that you give are connected to the definition of the noun using this connector, for example. There are many examples of examples. For example, as I see it, such as, for instance, until, like, personally, etc. Connectors of opinion, Viprayan. As I see it, personally, from my viewpoint, who, until, afterwards, which, personally, etc. So that is talking about my opinion. So when you talk about somebody else's opinion, you can say that in Malini's opinion, MS is a wait. So this connects in Malini's opinion. That is a connector which connects to all the things that she talked about. MS. So when you can also say according to Malini. Okay, that is also possible. You can. That is also a kind of connector. These two sentences have the same meaning, but there is another usage which is commonly made by people, which is wrong. This is wrong. According to me is wrong. According to Malini parayam, according to her parayam, according to the teacher parayam, according to the president, according to the people, according to the newspapers, according to the media, everything is correct. But when I say according to me, it is wrong. So you cannot say according to me. Then you have to say in my opinion. So that is the correct usage. When you are talking about ourselves, we have to say in my opinion. That is correct. So according to me is wrong usage. You can talk about others. When you talk about according to, it is always about others, about oneself, about our own opinion. Then we have to say in my opinion or from my point of view or my viewpoint. All these things can be used when we talk about our own opinion. Then we have the connectors of time. Until you finish eating, we will not leave. Afterwards, the elections were held. So it all refers to the previous sentences. You automatically refer back to the previous sentences. Then, who, later, which, until, so, where, etc. They are all connectors of time. So connectors can indicate different things. It can indicate opinion, it can indicate examples, it can indicate time. Then we have reference. Here, such references, when they appear in the middle of sentences, they are called relative pronouns. Like connectors which appear in the middle of sentences can become conjunctions. This is the lady who gave me a book. The who in the middle of the sentence is a relative pronoun. That is also a connector. They are also connectors. What do? They connect to the people or place. Who nu parnal, it is person, which is thing, where is place. So they indicate references. As a consequence, then as a consequence means as a result, then who, therefore, which, so, where, etc., which refer to something else or rather relate to something else, something, some person, some place, etc. So reference to person, place, and thing can be done using reference connectors. Reference connectors indicate a person, place, thing, or even time. Even time can be indicated when you use when. Who, which, where, and when can be used. When we use when, it indicates a reference to time. So can use reference to time. Reference to, you can refer to time, can refer to person, can refer to thing, and you can refer to a place. So that is the function of reference connectors. These reference connectors are able to connect to all these different things. So this is something which we have already discussed about result. So as a consequence, therefore, then, who, therefore, which, so, where, etc. They indicate a result. As a consequence means as a result. As a result of following precautions, the disease did not spread. As a consequence means as a result. So they can appear in the beginning of a sentence, then they become connectors of sentences. If they appear in the middle of the sentence, then they are conjunctions in the sentence. So they have multiple functions depending on the position in which they appear. So these are all connectors which we have already discussed. We will see some examples of how these connectors are used. So here are some examples. In this first sentence that we see, the connector is functioning as a conjunction. I couldn't buy the book since the store was closed. Because since here is in middle of the sentence, therefore the function is that of a conjunction, joining the different parts of the sentence together. Whereas in the next sentence, that is, the movie was interesting, however, I fell asleep. There it is used as a sentence connector. It is connecting the idea of the first sentence is connected to the idea in the second sentence. Random separate sentences are that, however, is able to connect the ideas in both these sentences together without making it into a single sentence. One sentence ആക്കി മാറ്റാതെ separate sentence ആയിട്ട് നിലനിർത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ അത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട്. Here it is functioning as a sentence connector. Okay, so the same kind of words can function inside sentences and become conjunctions, and at the beginning of sentences they can appear and relate to the ideas mentioned in the previous sentence or previous paragraph. The students who had finished writing decided to leave the room without permission. Here who is a relative pronoun. Relative pronoun. Here the students, it relates to the people who are talked about here. It is a reference. It gives reference. Reference. It gives reference to the people who are talked about. So the student who has finished writing, it refers to the students. The students who had finished writing decided to leave the room without permission. So here the connector who is a connector of reference. Connector, reference means of person. As long as you take care of it, I will lend you my new car. Here it is a connector of condition. It indicates condition, conditional, as long as. I will lend you my new car. I will lend you my car. The test, which was very difficult, lasted 4 hours. Here, which indicates a reference of thing. So we can have reference of people, you can have reference of places, you can have reference of things, you can have reference of time. Here it is a reference of thing. What is the thing mentioned here? The thing is the test. So this is a reference connector, a connector of reference of thing. The test, which was very difficult, lasted 4 hours. So the clause which was very difficult, for another clause on, relative clause on, which contains the relative pronoun, which എന്ന് പറയുന്ന റിലേറ്റീവ് പ്രോണൗൺ ഉള്ള ഒരു റിലേറ്റീവ് ക്ലോസ് ആണ് വിച്ച് വാസ് വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട്. ഈ വിച്ച് വാസ് വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് എന്നുള്ളത് ഇറ്റ് ക്വാളിഫൈസ് ദ ടെസ്റ്റ്. എന്ത് ടെസ്റ്റ്, എന്ത് തരത്തിലുള്ള ടെസ്റ്റ് എന്നുള്ളതിനെ കൂടുതൽ ഡിഫൈൻ ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് വിച്ച് വാസ് വെരി ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട്. ഓക്കെ, സോ these are some other connectors which we discuss. We will see some examples. Okay, these are the examples. Comparison and contrasting. Okay, team A had a good performance while team B did terribly. അപ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി. വൈൽ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ യു ക്യാൻ expect what is going to come in the next part of the sentence. So this is a typical example of contrasting. Contrast. While team B did terribly. I love action movies such as, here it is, എന്താണ് such as എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് is a connector of such as Lethal Weapon and Rocky. While contrasting ആണെങ്കിൽ such as എന്ത് തരം കണക്ടർ ആണ്? കണക്ടർ ഓഫ് anyone? such as എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്തായിരിക്കും? Yes, Adina, that is correct. Example ആണ്. It is example, correct. Giving examples. The school where I work is just next to my house. ഇവിടെ I am talking about the school. Where എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് is a reference connector. It is talking about the place. So it is a reference connector of place. Reference of place. So that is where I work is just next to my house. Where I work എന്ന് പറയുന്ന clause is a relative clause which refers to the school. The car broke down, therefore we went by taxi. ഇതെന്താണ്? It is a connector of, എന്ത് തരം കണക്ടർ ആണ്? Therefore is a connector of it is a connector of result, consequence. Yes, Bama, it is correct. It is result. The car broke down, therefore we went by taxi. It is a connector of result. കാർ തകർന്നതിൻ്റെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കാർ കേടായതിൻ്റെ, കേടാകുന്നതാണ്, തകർന്നതല്ല. ബ്രേക്ക് ഡൗൺ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും കേടുപാട് സംഭവിക്കുന്നതിനെയാണ് ബ്രേക്ക് ഡൗൺ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഹാവിങ് സം ടെക്നിക്കൽ ട്രബിൾ ഇസ് കോൾഡ് ബ്രേക്ക് ഡൗൺ. ആ ബ്രേക്ക് ഡൗണിൻ്റെ പാസ്റ്റ് ടെൻസ് ആണ് ബ്രോക്ക് ഡൗൺ. So there was some technical trouble with the car. Therefore, as a result, as a consequence, we had to go by taxi. I will stay here and wait for you until 9 o'clock. So what is that kind of connector? It is a connector of എന്തുതരം കണക്ടറാണ്? It is a connector of condition till the time. Yes, time also. Time പറയാം. Time because she is talking about time. Yes, time, condition, they are all correct. So they are all connectors within. These are examples of connectors within. അപ്പോൾ രണ്ട് തരത്തിലുള്ള connectors നമുക്ക് കാണാം. സെന്റൻസിനെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, സെന്റൻസിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിലുള്ള ക്ലോസസിനെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So we have connectors both within the sentence and sometimes at the beginning of the sentence to connect to the ideas in the previous paragraph. Okay, so we come back to the text. So here we have some syllables and we learn the stresses of syllables. So when we have this actually is inverted comma അല്ല അത് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു diacritic mark എന്നാണ് അതിനെ പറയുക. This is a diacritic mark, a mark which appears at the top of a word or in between the word. So that mark, teacher, it indicates that the first syllable has stress. The difference between English and other Indian languages, including Malayalam, is that in Malayalam all words are stressed. നമ്മുടെ ഭാഷ മലയാളത്തിലൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ എല്ലാ വാക്കുകളും ഒരുപോലെ സ്ട്രെസ് ചെയ്യും. But in English all words are not equally stressed. Certain syllables are stressed. For example, 2 syllable വാക്കുകളിൽ 2 തരത്തിൽ സ്ട്രെസ് കാണും. ചിലതിൽ ഫസ്റ്റ് സിലബിളിനായിരിക്കും സ്ട്രെസ്, ചിലത് സെക്കൻഡ് സിലബിളിനായിരിക്കും സ്ട്രെസ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, ഇൻ റിമെയിൻ the second syllable main is given stress. 2 syllable ഉണ്ട്, റീയും മെയിനും. The second syllable is given stress. About, compose എന്നുള്ളതിലൊക്കെ second syllable നാണ് stress. So there is no fixed rule, but there are certain patterns which we will find. In some words, the first syllable is stressed. In some words, the second syllable is stressed. In some other words, we have the third syllable which gets stressed. If there are words of 3 syllables, you have the first syllable stressed in quantity, the second syllable stressed in selection, and the third syllable stressed in afternoon. Okay, so there is a difference in stress, but if you observe the language, we will find certain patterns. For example, if there are 4 syllables in the vakile, we can see that the second last syllable is stressed in communication. For example, in all words which end with shen എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സൗണ്ടിൽ എൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നതൊക്കെ സെക്കൻഡ് ലാസ്റ്റ് സിലബിൾ ആയിരിക്കും സ്ട്രെസ്. അതായത് ഷെന്നിന് തൊട്ട് മുമ്പേ ഉള്ള സൗണ്ടിലായിരിക്കും സ്ട്രെസ് വരുന്നത്. എക്സാമിനേഷൻ, സോ നേഷൻ, നെയ് എന്നുള്ളതിലാണ് സ്ട്രെസ് വരുന്നത്. So there are some patterns. There are no fixed rules. You cannot give any fixed rule, but we can observe some patterns in such pronunciation. Cooperation. So in that, ray is stressed. Third syllable is stressed. Cooperation. So there is a stress you see in the second last syllable. For example, in demonstration, it is stray, the second last syllable which is stressed. If we observe such patterns, we can learn the stress patterns in different words that we used in English. The thing that we have to remember is that English is a stressed language, whereas Malayalam is not a stressed language. That is, inside words, syllables are stressed. In sentences, words are stressed. ഈ സെന്റൻസസ് പറയുമ്പോൾ പോലും എല്ലാ വാക്കുകൾക്കും തുല്യമായിട്ടുള്ള സ്ട്രെസ് അല്ല. There are certain words which are stressed when we speak in English. എല്ലാ വാക്കുകൾക്കും തുല്യമായിട്ടുള്ള സ്ട്രെസ് അല്ല. So that is the difference when we speak English and when we speak other regional languages. English is a stressed language, whereas Malayalam is not a stressed language. So that is it for today. We will continue with this. I think that brings us to the end of the chapter. We continue with the text. We take up the next chapter, which is in conversation. That will be in the next class. So thank you for joining. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's a
Yeah.